What is going on, Hive Warriors? It's your boy Edward V, and today we're going to talk about building muscle and losing fat all at the same time while utilizing the intermittent fasting protocol. Is this even possible? And if so, what do you have to do to achieve this? I'm going to go ahead and break it down in this video. Stay tuned. Body fat and gaining muscle at the same time. To do this is called body recomposition. Recomposition meaning to form something in a different way. So think about it as the word form, for example, your form, your body form. And then counteractively think about reforming your body. That's what recomposition means, is reforming your body. But is it possible? You know, for a very long time, I did not think that it was possible for recomposition until I looked into the studies. The reason I didn't think it was possible was because of the laws of thermodynamics. The first law, where there has to be energy. The second law, where energy has to go somewhere. So both of those thermodynamic laws had a strong indicator that you have to be at a caloric surplus to gain muscle, and you have to be at a caloric deficit to lose muscle. But the body is much more complex than that. That doesn't take into account calorie partitioning. So you can be giving your muscles more calories than you're giving your body fat stores, or you can be giving your body fat storage more calories than you're giving your muscle. The same way you can build muscle and lose fat is the same way you can gain fat and lose muscle. The laws of thermodynamics do apply, but the world inside of your body, where it's partitioning the calories, that's what creates the difference. So yes, body recomposition is possible. Not only is it possible, based on the studies that we have out there, it's possible for people who are overweight. It's possible for people who have just started working out. It's possible for people who were working out before and stopped working out. And it's even possible for people who are trained athletes who've been working out for some time. It's possible for almost any single person, man and woman. Now, the speed in which you will see body recomposition, how trained of an athlete you are, how close you are to your genetic potential for muscle, if you're overweight, if you're not overweight, those are going to determine the speed in which you build muscle while losing body fat. How do you pull this off while doing intermittent fasting? There has to be specific things in play. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is the intermittent fasting protocol itself. You have to have a protocol that allows for you to eat a little bit more. Now, you still have to be at a caloric deficit to lose body fat, but you want to trigger certain things that can promote a positive nitrogen balance. Things that promote protein synthesis. And one thing that promotes protein synthesis is meal frequency. However, intermittent fasting has been shown to assist in muscle retention. So incorporating an intermittent fasting protocol that helps retain muscle that can then easily be built upon is a much better scenario than utilizing a protocol that doesn't retain muscle. And studies have shown that intermittent fasting versus simply calorie restriction can assist you in retaining muscle. Because you want some level of meal frequency and you want to be able to retain muscle, the 16-8 method is possibly the best method to get benefits from intermittent fasting, to get the other health benefits that come with intermittent fasting, and also increase muscle while losing body fat. But there's other things that have to happen as well. If you look at this chart, they looked at dead bodies. They actually opened up some dead bodies and looked at what the musculature mass is truly made of. If you look at this, you see that it's made of mostly water. It's made of non-collagen protein, then collagen protein, then triglycerides, which is stored body fat, and then glycogen. So you want to make sure that you can provide those elements to your muscle while you're still at a calorie deficit. So glycogen can be provided from the body. So if you have a lot of body fat on you, if you're 25% or more in body fat, you're going to have enough triglyceride and glycogen to go ahead and give that to your body, move that over to your muscle internally without having to have it come in externally. This is why people who are overweight have a better chance of body recomposition than any other group, because they have the materials within their body to work with that. Then of course, water consumption. You want to be able to consume water, and that's not going to add any calories, so it's not going to affect the caloric deficit. But non-collagen protein and collagen protein are also part of the equation. And how do you get that? By having a high protein diet, ensuring that you are taking in at least 0.7 to about 1 gram of protein per pound, per lean body weight. If you can ensure that you're doing that, you're adding certain layers that perpetuate protein synthesis so that the body recomposition has a higher level of success. Remember, your body fat equals energy, and your energy has to go somewhere. And if your body needs to utilize it for muscle building, it will burn that body fat to help build muscle tissue. So you want to be in a high protein diet. That is critical. Cardio, you want to contain cardio. You want to make sure you're not doing so much cardio. And if you are going to do cardio, high intensity interval training is probably the best. It has shown to be the best for burning body fat effectively while not burning so much muscle. But like I said, you want to be very cognizant of how much cardio you're doing. I would recommend not doing more than 2 cardio sessions per week, as you don't want to burn through the muscle tissue. Doing a lot of cardio will definitely burn some muscle tissue, and this will work against you with body recomposition. Now, if you're a beginner with little to no effort, you can actually lose body fat and gain muscle, because just the stimulation in the joints and the muscles tissue that it never felt before is going to quickly start building muscle for your body, even if you're at a caloric deficit, because it's such a shock to the system that your body can actually work with that and build muscle. So if you're in your first year of training, you're going to have a higher chance of body recomposition, building muscle and losing fat. Another group that can do it are people who are detrained. You always have these things called satellite cells that stay in your muscle tissue. It's the muscle memory, if you will. When you start working out, then the muscles begin to regrow itself and try to get back to the level that it was before. And if you have body fat while you're doing this, you can lose body fat and build muscle at the same time. Now, even elite athletes have been seen to burn body fat and gain muscle at the same time. In this study by Hoffman and colleagues, they actually looked at trained football players who were able to squat 380 pounds and even bench press 280 pounds. These are heavily trained athletes. They were even able to lose body fat and gain muscle at the same time. And there are many studies where elite trained athletes, even elite trained women, are able to lose body fat and gain muscle at the same time. So basically, at most points of your life, you are able to do body recomposition. It is very possible. What would it take if you're an intermediate lifter or an elite lifter? The leaner you are, the harder it's going to be, because you're not going to have those other elements. You're not going to have much of those other elements, the triglycerides, the glucose, those things that if you had an abundance of, it'll be much easier for your body to do recomposition. That means that it's going to work very slowly, and you have to be much more strategic with your calorie intake. You're going to have to do a slow cut, a very slow cut, in which you're losing about 0.8% of your body fat per week. And that will actually mean about 500 calories less than your total daily energy expenditure. And keep in mind, when you do this, you need to utilize things like fat calipers. You have to be measuring the weight loss in different ways than just the scale, because if you're working on body recomposition, you may not ever see the scale drop, and in some cases you'll see the scale go up. And if you're only utilizing the scale and trying to look at it as fat loss, you're going to be throwing yourself for a loop, because that scale is not going to be representative of your fat loss. So I highly recommend purchasing body fat calipers. I'm not sponsored by any body fat caliper company at all, but you can easily go on Amazon and get some body fat calipers for a very, very cheap price. And it comes with its own chart and guide so that you know what you need to do to measure the body fat in your body. Of course, you want to add strength training, minimum of 3 training sessions per week. You do want to have time for recovery, because your muscles actually build itself during the recovery stage, not during the working out stage. Focus a lot of your workouts on compound movements, things that trigger a lot of muscle tissue in your body, things like squats, bench pressing, pull-ups. Try not to do so many isolation workouts like dumbbell curls. Focus on compound movements so you're as effective as possible when you're in the gym. So there you have it, guys. Make sure to utilize a 16-8 method so that you can push more protein synthesis activation. If you're a trained athlete, you have to do a slow cut. If you have over 25% body fat on your body, you are primed and ready for body recomposition, because you have all of the tools that you need to pull that off. If you're in your first year, because of the muscle activation and joint activation that the body has not experienced, you are primed and ready as well for body recomposition. And even if you're an elite athlete, you can have body recomposition happen, but it will happen at a slower rate. Please understand that the closer you get to your genetic potential in muscle mass, the slower it's going to be. So losing fat and building muscle while utilizing intermittent fasting is possible. All the links to the studies that I've referenced in this video will be down in the description below. And of course, I want to thank my patrons from my Patreon. I'm going to go ahead and put their names right up here.